What's good, everybody?
Hi.
Webisode number
19.
You got it right, y'all, for the first time, like ever in life, period. Webisode number 19. Tonight, we're talking about part 3 of profiting off of punishments.
Yep.
Profiting off of punishments, part 3 with special guest Apostle Fidel Donaldson, as well as Pastor Mike Grubbs. Y'all want to stay locked. Listen, last week was bananas with Shatoria Low.
Really good.
And tonight will be epic, so stay tuned.
All right, yeah, there we go. Now I can see. Y'all ready to get lit? Live from Jacksonville, Florida. Vodcasting around the world.
You heard me right. That's vodcasting with a V.
We want to welcome you to the LiT TV show, where we love, learn, and leverage information together. Because what we don't know can literally take us back to the Stone Ages. Are y'all ready to get litty? Welcome your host, E.
Mama, there goes that man.
C.
The boy's smart, but he crazy.
Weston.
Charity Bell.
Yes, dear.
We live.
We're back. Webisode number 19. Glad to have y'all here.
Webisode number 19.
Yes.
Is that music playing?
I don't know.
I can't tell.
Sounds
Y'all
like
tell
a
me-
scary movie.
Y'all tell me, is that music playing or what is that going on? I can't really tell. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to bring the music in. How about that? Is that better?
It's much better.
What's good? Quintez Nelson, family in the building. What's going on?
Sisters United by Love.
My auntie, Sisters United by Love, is tuned in, rocking with us. Auntie, good to see you on tonight as well. We're a little bit more centered, right? They can see you now. You're on the screen. I'm on the screen.
Yes. Very nice.
All right. We got about 62 people that's rocking with us already on YouTube. What we looking like on Facebook?
Facebook is getting there.
It's getting there?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so y'all like, subscribe, and share. Like, subscribe, and share. Share. Tonight we have a very, very exciting show put together for you guys, dealing with profiting off of punishments, part 3. And we have 2 very special guests that's going to be on with us tonight. But we're going to have a good time.
Yes, we are. Like
At the same
always.
time, like we do all the time. We're going to have a good time. Maybe that music may be a little loud, so let me just take the music down just a little. Make sure y'all can hear me. Y'all let us know. Can you hear us? Nina E. Donaldson, Elmore.
Welcome.
New to the show. Thank you, sis, for rocking out with us tonight.
Welcome.
It is a blessing to you, as we know it will be a blessing to us.
Yes.
Apostle Fidel is on, and his sister, Nina, is rocking out with us.
All right.
Bless you, sis. Thank you for rocking out with us on tonight. And yeah, so she says yes. So the people can't see you yet, Apostle. So while you're talking, keep in mind that's just us they can't hear you. So it's just me and you talking right now. Okay, until we get ready to bring you on.
Hi, Sister Edith.
Edith Hodges, what's going on?
Welcome back, sis.
LiT family. That's one of the LiT team members. Thank you for rocking out with us on tonight. We up to about 98 people already. So what's good with you?
It's been a great week. I just want to say it's been a great week. Life is good.
Can they hear you? Y'all can hear her well? Just say yes.
I would hope
I think so. I mean, everything's gauging on this end. Looks like. Say something again.
Hi.
Yeah, that's real good.
But yep, I was just saying I've been good. It's
Yeah.
been a good week. Just glad to be here again.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get ready. She says yes. All right, so we're going to get ready to jump right into paying bills. Y'all know when we get on, we got to give a shout out to all of our sponsors. So we're going to start right off by talking about none other than our favorite sponsor,
Luxury Vacations.
Thank you, Luxury Vacations. Listen, if you want to get away, I don't care if it's in the country, I don't care if it's out of the country. If you want to get away and spend time with your family, with your loved ones, you're getting away on business, you're getting away because you just need to get away yourself personally, it does not matter. Luxury Vacations is the travel company for you. And let me tell y'all something. The prices.
Crazy.
Oh my God.
Crazy.
And everything is 4 and 5 star resorts, no hotels. Everything is resorts, and the prices are bananas. Like we getting ready to do Christmas time in Tennessee.
That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, in a cabin, which we were gonna do a resort, but she wants a cabin.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do a cabin, and we're taking like 13, 14, 15 people with us. And when I tell y'all the prices are under $800 for a week in a 4-bedroom cabin,
Can't beat it.
that many people, like,
Cannot be beat.
Heard of. And so, Mom is on. What's going on? Yvette Andrews, my mother,
Hello.
is on with us tonight. So, everybody go and subscribe to Luxury Vacations. They're on Facebook. And it's a group. You want to be a member of the group. It's free to join. You want to be a member of the group because the specials are always
Pop up all the time.
I just saw Orlando in a 2-bedroom for an entire 5 days or 4 days for like $199.
That's
in a
insane.
2-bedroom. Are you kidding me?
Right.
You can't even stay at a hotel for 4 days at $199.
Right. Exactly.
Hotels are usually $200 a night, $150 a night.
You're right about it.
So 156 people already on YouTube. Come on, YouTube. Y'all keep pushing. And so go support Luxury Vacations. They have sponsored us from the start, and they are still holding us down. Also, I got to give a shout out to who, Charity?
That's gonna be I Shop Black.
How you knew that?
I'm just something like a prophet.
Whatever. Come on, I Shop Black.
Business owners, is your business signed up to iShopBlack.com? This is the hottest spot for Black-owned businesses and professionals. Get discovered by consumers and make more money. It's just that simple. Visit iShopBlack.com and get signed up today.
iShopBlack.com.
So, iShopBlack.com.
It's a directory.
It is a directory online.
Black-owned businesses.
All black-owned businesses. So if you would like to support black-owned businesses, here's an easy way to do it, and it's free.
It's free. Doesn't cost you a thing.
So if I'm on, let me ask you this. So
Yep.
if I'm on the south side, and I need a chiropractor,
Well, I'll tell you what you're gonna do.
what am I going to do?
You're gonna go visit. Just pull out your mobile phone.
Yep.
Go to iShopBlack.com.
iShopBlack.com. I'm going to put in chiropractor. I'm going to put in the zip code. I don't even have to put in the zip code.
Right, near me.
Near me, and it's going to pull up all black chiropractors in the immediate area of where I am.
Right.
What if I go to Orlando?
You can do that in Orlando.
What if I go to Atlanta?
You can do that in Atlanta.
Are y'all kidding me? Go support. And now that's for the consumer. If you are a business owner
and you want to
are
be
a
in the
black-owned-
directory.
Yeah, you need to be in the directory. Guess how much it costs? Free. So you need to go sign your business up to iShopBlack.com and be a member. We always talk about supporting each other. Then when it comes to things like this, we don't do it. It's free. Go join so that people can support you. They can't listen. We don't know you if we can't find you. If we
Right.
can't find you, how we know you exist?
Right.
Go sign up.
There's your solution. Right there.
Thank you guys, both you guys, I Shop Black and Luxury Vacations for supporting the LiT TV show. If you would like to sponsor the LiT TV show, have your business be mentioned, play commercials, whole 9 yards, let us know. You can reach us at LiT TV, info@litvnetwork.com.
Say that again.
Info@litvnetwork.com, and we will promote your business to thousands of people because there's thousands of people who watch the show every single week. Charity,
Very nice. I have some tea.
you got some tea?
I mean, I don't have some literally I don't have
You ain't
tea.
drinking no tea tonight.
No, I'm not. I need to be.
So when Charity does her tea, she's normally drinking tea. Hence, Charity's got tea, but no tea tonight, just news, yeah?
Yeah, I got news tonight.
All right, Charity got some news. You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's get it.
All right, so we're in Jacksonville. I feel like it's appropriate to speak on it. The crowd awaits President Trump's Jacksonville rally. That is, the Great American Comeback Rally is happening at Cecil Airport on Jacksonville's west side right as we speak. When the president speaks live, you guys will be able to watch it live by checking out some of the news outlets. The president's rally on Thursday night is highly anticipated among Jacksonville supporters. He was supposed to visit for the Republican National Convention in August, but after Sheriff Mike Williams said he wasn't prepared to handle it, the convention was canceled. That's all on that. In other news, Breonna Taylor, that is trending in the news right now. Her mother says the system failed Breonna. Breonna Taylor's mom is breaking her silence about the grand jury indictment in Breonna's case and seems to be pointing the finger, like many others, at Attorney General Daniel Cameron. Tamika Palmer has not spoken publicly about the indictment, but on Thursday, she did post a painting of her daughter with the caption, "It's still Breonna Taylor for me." She added 2 blue hearts emojis, a red broken heart emoji, and the hashtag, "The system failed Breonna." Although Tamika didn't include Cameron's name in her post, the system she's referring to is Cameron. In the eyes of people angry, the grand jury failed to indict any of the officers shooting and killing Breonna. Immediately after the grand jury announcement, Breonna's cousin, Tawana Gordon, told the Louisville Courier-Journal, "I'm not surprised, but I'm mad because nothing's changing. Today's decision was an additional injustice on our family and this country." The family's attorney, Ben Crump, told us on Thursday he has serious concerns about what Cameron presented during the secret grand jury proceedings and whether he fought to get justice for Breonna or to exonerate the 3 cops. As we reported, the grand jury indicted just one officer, Brett Hankinson, on charges of wanton endangerment. Hankinson was not charged for the shooting of Breonna, but for firing his weapon into Breonna's neighbor's apartment. The indictment is sparking outrage, from Reverend Al Sharpton imploring voting over violence to comedian D.L. Hughley, along with a score of pro-athletes, calling it a slap in the face. Now, I do have just one more tidbit of news, but did you want to speak on that before I move forward?
No, I'll hold my comment to when you get done.
All right. So, in sports news, Jaguars' Jimmy Smith says, "I'm certain Minshew is our franchise quarterback. He's the real deal." The Jaguars' year-long search for a franchise quarterback is finally over, so says Jacksonville legend Jimmy Smith. He told TMZ Sports he has no doubt Gardner Minshew is that dude. He's the bright spot of the team, Smith says. He has proven that week in and week out. Minshew has only started 14 games for the Jags since he was drafted in 2019. But Jimmy says he's already seen enough to declare the quarterback a Jaguars cornerstone. Smith tells us he's actually been following Minshew since he was a high schooler. Jimmy's son's team played against Gardner's. And he's convinced the 24-year-old is the real deal. He's showing that, said Smith. The first week, he went 19 of 20. And you saw last Sunday, he had 3 touchdowns, which is awesome. So through 2 games so far this year, Minshew has led the Jags to a 1-1 record and has thrown 6 touchdowns to just 2 interceptions to go along with 512 passing yards. Minshew also has 115.7 quarterback rating, and Jimmy tells us it's all pointing towards Gardner being in place under center in Jacksonville for a long time. His personality fits that city, Smith says. That's why they have Minshew Mania down in Jacksonville. And I couldn't be happy for my homeboy, Gardner Minshew. Go Jags. Jags are on tonight at 8:20 with a local game. There you have it. It's news for today.
That was pretty good.
Thank you.
As y'all can see, I got on my mask. I don't know if y'all can hear me, but I got my mask on. 2 reasons. First reason I got my mask on is because the president is here with all these people, and I bet you they ain't wearing no masks. Silence. Second reason I got my mask on is that I am ashamed at the way that our justice system
has failed.
Continually proves that it is not for Black and brown people. I say this. Need to come take my mask off so you can hear me clearly. I'm tired of politicians. If you notice, we can go back to every presidential election throughout history, and every presidential candidate has a part of their platform They're going to tackle racial injustice. Every one of them. Talk about how they're going to make change as it relates to us. Why is it that every one of them have to keep saying that? Simply means that those who get in office don't do anything to help us. And the injustices continue. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. Chantoria Lowe is on with us.
Hey, welcome back.
What's going on, sis? Chantoria Lowe was our guest last week. And sis, I'm going to get you on with these two gentlemen and another person, probably Marissa Alexander, and do a panel with all four of you guys. So, but thank you for rocking with us on tonight. My mom said, show you right. And I don't know if she was saying show you right with what I said, or rather she was saying show you right about the Jaguars. But the Jags are winning. The Jags are going to win tonight. Y'all heard it here. I went back and looked at September the 10th, episode we did on September 10th. And I said the Lakers and Miami would be in the finals way back on September 10th. And I said on the show, and I'm going to bring it back. We'll play it once it happens. Said, I'm not a prophet, but I'm something like one. You can write it down. Lakers and Miami. Look what's happening. I'm just saying.
You know what you forgot to do?
I'm just saying. What?
You remember when we did the game show?
Yeah.
You were supposed to come back and show them the answer. I just thought about it. It just came to me.
That's been a week. Them people ain't thinking.
I know. But I just thought about it.
All right. So tonight, we have two very special gentlemen, personally special to me, and then equally special in the fact that they took time out of their busy schedules. They were supposed to be on weeks ago, but they're busy. So for them to take out of their time to be on our show tonight, we are honored.
Thank you.
Have them.
Thank you.
Yeah. And so we're getting ready to bring on our guest. And before we do that, Charity, I want you to tell the people that there's a place called Abigail.
Oh my God.
There's a place that's called Abigail. Y'all just y'all pray for Abigail. I'm gonna leave it like that. Y'all just pray for Abigail. Pray for Abigail.
Put Abigail
on your prayer list and pray that God will give favor to the Weston family for Abigail. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna leave that right there just like that. Y'all pray for it.
Period.
All right. So tonight, man, we have two special guests. I'm getting ready to bring these guys on. Two very special guests with us on tonight. And we're going to introduce them individually on tonight. First, if you would start with Apostle Fidel Donaldson bio for me.
Yes, minister and author Fidel Donaldson is an internationally renowned evangelist with an
She can't say it.
Apostolic.
Ain't no apostolistic. What is that?
Prophetic anointing. His particular anointing has led him to minister to thousands around the world from all walks of his life. He was born on the island of Jamaica, but he grew up in New York City. His unique preaching and teaching style promotes the redemption of lost souls. In 2000, God called him to Jacksonville, Florida, and gave him the vision for Fidel Donaldson Ministries International, where he serves as CEO. Under the umbrella of FDMI encompasses Bald Eagle Productions, the Prophetic Destiny Impact Call, Soldiers Watching and Traveling, Cloud of Glory, and Appeal Ministries, now known as Kingdom Alliance Ministries International. CAMI is a kingdom connection for fivefold leaders that are now outside of the four walls. CAMI was launched in alignment with the book Great Women, which is now a fast-growing movement. In addition to his full-time kingdom work, he travels preaching and teaching the gospel. Every year, God has blessed Apostle Donaldson to gather the eagles for the annual CAMI convocation, where thousands are compelled to the highest mountaintop. God has graced Apostle Donaldson to author and display 12 books: Mercy and the Sufficiency of Grace, Perceive and Receive, Don't Birth an Ishmael in the Waiting Room, From the Pit to the Prison to the Palace, Midnight, Diamond in the Morning Rough with a Play, Praise, Worship, and the Spirit of Prophecy, The Power of Persistent Prayer, It's Time to Come Out of Lodabar, DNA, Who's Your Daddy, and Great Women, and his latest release, In the King's Prison, A Journey of Divine Freedom. He is married to his wife for life, the lovely lady Paulette Donaldson, also known as Mrs. Cutie Cutie.
Come on here, Miss Cutie Cutie. Come on here. We got Apostle Fidel Donaldson. How you doing, sir?
Man, I'm just blessed. I'm excited to be on LiT TV. Phenomenal interview on last week. I mean, it was dynamic hearing from the great woman, Shantoria Lowe. Shout out.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Taking the time out to rock with us tonight. And we're going to be talking about the kids on tonight, as a matter of fact. And so, also on, we got the privilege of, you want to read this?
Yes, absolutely. Mike Grubbs. Mike Grubbs is the founder and international director of CLOT, which stands for Christian Leaders of Today, which is an international Bible teaching network that helps to educate, equip, and empower those that have been called to edify the body of Christ. He is also the host of the Bible Notes with Mike Grubbs streaming TV show and vodcast, which will be airing in October. Welcome.
Welcome, Pastor Mike Grubbs.
Good evening. God bless you. Thanks so much for having me, y'all.
Yes, sir.
You and the beautiful First Lady. It's good to see y'all.
Just call me Charity. Just call me Charity.
We do have one prerequisite on the LiT TV show, sir, and that is that you do not sing, please.
Okay.
You're going to run my audience off if you do that. So, gentlemen, listen, thank you guys again for rocking out with us tonight. As you guys know, the title and the theme that we've been dealing with for the past 2 episodes. Tonight is episode number 3, or part number 3, is profiting off of prison, or punishment, I should say, profiting off of punishment, and how the prison system is really become the plantation field of today. You know, not just according to the 13th Amendment, but just in the mere fact that our prison populations is filled with Black and brown people, and throughout the world, pretty much the same thing. And you both have unique stories, and what we always try to do on the LiT TV show is allow you to tell your story, as little or as much of it as you like to. But I would like to kind of get the people a little bit of your background, a little bit of your story, and then have you both kind of take us behind the walls. That's what Shantoria did. She kind of took us behind the prison walls so that people might have a clear understanding of what truly does take place when it comes to prison. I'm a firm believer, guys, that is no place for our young men and our young women. And if we're not careful, we can easily be tripped up and caught up and the whole book thrown at us very easily off of truncated charges, small little minute things.
Right.
And as you can tell with the Breonna Taylor situation, they can commit crime and get away and never go to prison. Why? Because slavery was never intended for them. I'm gonna leave that right there. And so first, we start with Pastor Mike. Can you just kind of give us a little bit of your background and what makes you an authority on any of this that we're talking about?
Oh, well, I've experienced it firsthand. Just a little bit about my background. I came into ministry in 1999, relocated to Jacksonville, Florida, and within 15 years, actually became like one of the most sought businessmen in corporate America. Had an opportunity to work for some of the top Fortune 500 companies in the country, from the largest local internet service provider in the world, the largest cell phone provider in the world, the largest CLEC, which is a better competitive local exchange company in the world, and all the way up until 2008, when I entered in the post-secondary education sector, in which I became an admissions director, from admissions director, interim campus director, from interim campus director, regional director of admissions. And that's where my story pretty much began, with me having an experience on the backside of the wall.
Right.
One of the things I really want to tell viewers is you have to be careful for what you pray for. Because I asked God to allow me to go into ministry full time, and he put me in full time ministry.
Wow.
Now, what do you tell the people what you mean by that?
Hey, I went, as Apostle Fidel said, that's a Lola bar. In other words, something that happened to me uniquely happened to me, because before me, it had happened to no one else in the history of this company, in the history of this country. Back in 2012, As I mentioned, ran colleges, and at the time I was a regional director of admissions. So I ran admission department in Jacksonville, Florida, Tampa, Florida, Clearwater, Florida. The FBI launched an investigation after our owner, who happened to own 7 schools throughout the state. And because my title was so high up, when you're dealing with the FBI, what they do is they start at the top and they work their way down to the bottom. Mm-hmm. So if they want the person at the top, then they're going to start at the top and go all the way down to the bottom of the food chain. If it's a person at the bottom of the food chain, they're going to get the person at the bottom of the food chain and every superior that they have on top of them to try to make it against the person at the top. They're going to chase that rabbit tail as well. Right. So long story short, back in 2012, there was a student that lied. And this student said that he had a high school diploma, didn't have a high school diploma. And so the FBI said that I should have known because I was the director. So long story short, they tried to give me 25 years in prison for one student. This student received a Pell Grant. They tried to give me 10 years for that. He received a federal loan. They tried to give me 10 years for that. And then to top it all off, they hit me with a conspiracy charge. And the thing about this conspiracy charge is that they don't really have to have any evidence whatsoever. All they need is 1 or 2 people to testify against you to say that you were involved. Then you got to spend your whole life savings and everything that you can pull together in order to fight the strongest entity in the world.
Wow.
My paperwork did not say Duval County versus Mike Grubbs. My paperwork did not say the state of Florida versus Mike Grubbs. My paperwork said the United States of America versus Mike Grubbs.
Wow.
Versus Lil old you.
Wow.
Little old me. Actually, it said United States versus America, and it gave my government name versus Michael Jermaine Grubbs.
Oh my God.
And here I am at war with the largest and the most dominant country in the entire world. And this is my enemy, and this is who's against me. And last, they're literally trying to rob me and take my life away from me because of one student. Now, here's the thing. After 4 years of investigation, the student comes back and tells the government Mr. Grubbs didn't have anything to do with it. And I got tears of joy, and we'll probably go more into the story a little later on, but I'm just giving an overview now. And I really thought the government was going to charge us when the student said I had nothing to do with it. However, I became the first African-American in the history of this country to be charged with what I was charged with. I was charged. You're about to ask what I was charged with, Reverend?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Should have known that a student didn't have a high school diploma. Not that I knew, that I should have knew that the student didn't have a high school diploma.
Wow.
Here's the issue, Reverend. The student told him that he never told me. The student told my lawyer that the representative that recruited him in the school, which was a rep out of Miami, told him that if I found out, I would not allow him to get in school. Wow. So the student said Pastor Grubbs had nothing at all to do with it. But because the story was so big, because there was a war against for-profit colleges. Anytime you have Democrats in office, they're going to lobby and they're going to do everything they can to try to get funds returned into the state schools. Why? Because the money recycles through the government. It goes to the student, goes to the state college, goes back to the government, goes to the student, goes to the state college.
Right.
And anytime you have a Republican that's in office, what's going to wind up happening? They're going to lobby for the for-profit colleges. Why? The money goes to the for-profit colleges. It goes from the for-profit colleges to the owners, from the owner's checking account back into the government officials, and they back them with campaign money because it's going from rich to rich.
I got you. That's good.
Make good sense.
So now I'm caught in the middle of a political crossfire. As a matter of fact, I remember when President Barack Obama was running. And at the time, I really didn't know who to vote for. And the reason being, I knew because I worked in for-profit college, that it was going to be an all-out war against my industry, which means my way of life and my way of living could be shattered because I made really, really good money. However, if I voted Democrat, it will crush my industry, but it will help my people.
Come on.
If I voted Republican, it will sustain me and my household, but thousands of households around the country would suffer. And I was caught between a political rock and a hard place.
That's good.
Making Republican money, but Democratic values. Do I sustain my family, or do I help sustain the lives of those that's around me that's not in the position that I'm in? Long story short, and I'll wrap up so Apostle Fidel can come on. The student told him I wasn't involved, and rather than drop the charges, the government came to me and they said, we're gonna offer you a deal. If you agree not to come to court, if you agree not to testify on behalf of the owner, instead of giving you 25 years, we'll give you 6 months. We'll allow you to plead to 6 months. The only problem was I hadn't committed a crime. This is what they told my lawyer. You choose the crime, and if it's a misdemeanor, we'll sign off on it as long as he don't show up in court.
Hold on. Rewind. Rewind.
That's crazy.
You said they told you to choose, told your lawyer for you to choose the crime.
Come on.
As long as it's a misdemeanor.
Come on, sir. They would sign off on it. So lawyers went through case after case, student after student, faculty, staff, and after doing a thorough investigation, they found a student who came to school for 3 days. That student received $463 of Pell Grant money. The owner never returned the money to the government. And because the owner drew $463 from the federal government, they charged me federal theft of government funds. Wow. Misdemeanor. And so I really didn't believe, and I know we'll dive more into it as we go on, but I really didn't believe that I was going to do time because they told me with the 6 months, it was at discretion of the judge. It was only $463. I paid the $463. The judge could have gave me house arrest. The judge could have gave me probation. The judge could have gave me time served. But that judge looked at me in my eyes and said, Mr. Grubbs, you're a good person, but you work for a bad company, and ignorance to the law, there's no excuse. I sentence you to 9 months in the Federal Bureau of Prisons.
So you went to Fed time in federal prison for $463. And let me ask you this, Pastor Mike. Did you get the $463 from the student?
I never seen the $463, Reverend. Don't know whatever became of the $463. But here's the thing. The 9 months that I spent, I actually spent 4 months inside the detention center in Tallahassee, Florida. I spent 4 months at the federal prison camp on the Navy base. So I never really went to quote unquote prison. I pretty much had it. And as we go on tonight, I know I get a chance to dive more into it. But I spent 4 months there and then a month inside of the halfway house. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Those 9 months cost the taxpayers of the United States of America $36,000 to house me for those 9 months for a $463 charge.
Oh,
we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that.
Come on, sir.
We're gonna get into that. Which we paid, the taxpayers pay it.
Come on, sir.
But you worked while you were there. And we're gonna get into that. You worked on contract work while you were there. So somebody made money off of that. But at any rate, we have Apostle Fidel. Now, Apostle Fidel, your story is on a whole other level. Like, first off, before we even talk about your story, I'm gonna put this book up because I want y'all to go get this book. This book is The King's Prison. Listen to me, y'all. Go get Apostle. Where can they get this book at?
They can get it on Amazon.com or they can contact me directly if they want a signed copy.
All right, if you want a signed copy, and I suggest get a signed copy, they can. And when this is over, we'll get his information so you can reach out to him directly. But The King's Prison: A Journey to Divine Freedom. So now, Apostle, bring us up to speed on your story.
Yeah, so I have a couple of different encounters in my life with the criminal justice system and what's considered to be law enforcement or quote unquote law and order in the United States. First, many years ago, coming from Jamaica, living in New York City, there was a blackout in New York City. Prior to the blackout, my sister Nina and another friend of mine, we were on our way to the store. Everything seemed normal. And when we got into the middle of the block, everything became pitch black. So we decided to try to get to the store before we got home. The next thing we knew, a couple of guys jumped out of a car, a couple of Caucasian guys dressed in plain clothes. We're teenagers at the time, pushed us up against the wall. We don't know what's going on. So my friend that was with me, said, what's going on? And the moment he said that, the officer punched him in his eye without provocation, swole up his eye. And then they jumped back in the car and we realized that they were undercover police officers. So that left an indelible impression on me. Not long after that, there was a girls' home in the community, and had a friend, and we were interested in a couple of the honeys in there. We're teenagers, and we straight up straight, nothing against anybody else. So we went there, and we were throwing some stuff at the window to get the girls' attention, and the elder of the house called the police. So we hear the siren and see the lights coming up. So being young and scared, we took off running. When we started running, all I heard was pow, pow, pow. Yeah, oh yeah. Before cell phones, before you could video, it was attempted assassination. And
What?
then they found, straight up. This stuff that we're seeing dates back years and years and years and years and years back to the slave patrol. So they found out where I lived. They came to the house, and the officer filed a report and said that I pulled a knife on him. Absolute lie, bona fide lie. They took me to a notorious lockup in New York City called Rikers Island.
No, you weren't in Rikers.
Yeah. One of the most notorious places in the United States of America.
Yeah.
So notorious that they're shutting the place down. It's on an island. So basically what wound up happening is I was green. So I was throwing on my brand new green and white Pumas and my gabardine, because I want to look presentable.
Right.
As soon as they brought me in, the first cell that I was passing, a dude said, as soon as the cell door opened, those sneakers are mine. So I realized, because you got stick-up kids from Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, and whatever you have, that's going to be taken from you. Thank God I was bailed out prior to having to fight or to be stabbed or to be cut just for my sneakers.
How old were you, Fidel? Apostle Fidel, how old were you?
I was 16.
Oh my God.
And it wasn't nothing sweet about the experience. But let me just say
Definitely
this.
not a sweet 16.
It left an indelible impression on me, and I realized that a certain segment of Caucasian individuals, I'm gonna just say I speak plain, I don't sugarcoat anything,
right.
I speak from my experience.
Yeah.
A segment of the Caucasian individuals in what's called police uniforms are there, not in the neighborhood, not to keep the peace, but they're there because the system has criminalized blackness.
That's right.
So when I saw that happening, I was like, you know what? There's something corrupt about this whole system. So definitely a couple of years later, I started running with a certain crowd, gangsters, smuggling guns, smuggling drugs. I'm gonna just speak straight up.
Straight.
My philosophy was the white man is the devil. Police officer put in the neighborhood to keep blacks on the plantation, and they're my enemy. Not so much the individual, but the uniform.
Right.
My enemy, because I had no other experience with
That's
them.
what I'm saying. That was your
Experiences I did have
experience.
with them almost cost me my life. Candy Staten said years ago, self-preservation is what's going on with me.
Come on.
So
Right.
basically, I was arrested in England in an apartment with a large quantity of drugs. I was put in a lockup called Wormwood Scrubs that was built in the 1800s that had no indoor toilet in the cell. And I was locked up for 23 hours a day, and subsequently had,
Pause.
yeah.
Did you say in England?
Yeah, I was in England, yeah. Oh, yeah,
I thought I heard that.
I was in
A
England.
whole nother country, Apostle.
Yeah, I was abroad. I mean, it was an economic situation. The pound was worth more than the dollar, and I was a businessman, so I had to.
I hear you.
I
I'm just,
had to apply my trade internationally.
I hear you. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
you're in a whole nother country. That is international. That's on a whole nother level.
Oh yeah.
So you're in the UK.
I'm in the UK. Now, my mindset always was, don't do the crime if you can't do the time.
Gotcha.
I had no problem with the situation because mom always told me it's blood money, and when they catch you, you're gonna have to give an account for it.
Right.
My problem is now basically the criminalization of my black skin, where a police officer can shoot at me or punch my friend in the eye without provocation.
Right.
So that was my problem. So basically, I got 23 hours a day lockdown on remand. Eventually, I got sentenced to like 8 years, while I was facing another 25 years for conspiracy in the United States of America.
Now explain that.
Yeah, basically, there was a group of people that I used to run with, and they got caught out of town, and they began to give evidence.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but God arrested me. The English prison is called HMP, Her Majesty's Prison. But I was actually in the King's prison learning what I needed to learn so the King could arrest me. So when the King arrested me, he squashed that whole thing in the United States of America and did away with all of that. Thank God.
Wow. Now you know we've known each other, Apostle, for a little while now.
Yeah.
And you couldn't have told me that you was locked up in no doggone UK with facing 20 plus years from the United States and 8 years. There's no way.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I got to be honest with you. It was a tough experience mentally because, I mean, when I was on remand 23 hours a day, facing like a lot of years in England, and then I found out that there was some RICO charges that could have, had me leaving England and coming to an American prison for like 20, 25 years. That's a tough situation to deal with mentally. But what really helped me through it is my conversion, because I got to tell you, when I experienced the racism and the police brutality, I threw myself into Malcolm X's, by any means necessary, Marcus Garvey, right. Africa for Africans at home and abroad, Dick Gregory's Nigger. Right. I read voraciously. So my mindset was Pan-African to the core. That was my mindset. But I found the Gideon Bible in the cell and started reading it, and my life got transformed.
Man, and he's so amazing in his plan for us, so far beyond our imagination or our reach, and the journey and the paths that he take us on. Just like the girl last week, man, had it not been for those things,
she wouldn't be who she was today.
You know what I'm saying? And same thing with you, Pastor Mike. So we have both, and that was federal time, considered federal time, Apostle?
Not really. Basically English time is different, but in the United States of America, well, it's in England, so you wouldn't consider it like what we call the feds. Yeah, because their system is a little bit, their system is a parliamentary system.
I got you. Yeah. I got you. So take our listeners, let's kind of go behind prison walls, and I'm gonna start with you, Apostle, then we'll come to you, Mike. So Pastor Mike, so 23 hours, like, help us understand what is a typical day. So that's solitary 23 hours a day?
Yeah, I mean, they basically, since you're on remand, you got let out for probably like an hour exercise and to get your meal, and then just right back in the cell. If you needed to use the toilet, I mean, you had to bang for the guard to open up the door. And at any time, they could bring anybody into your cell that's coming from court. An inmate told me one time he was sleeping and he woke up, he was gagging with smoke because the guy they brought in the cell had wrapped some turban around his head and lit the cell on fire. So, yeah, so it was a mental type of psychological, type of thing to kind of break you down mentally. But I mean, I've always loved to read, so. And I already had decided in my mind that, I'm going to do the time. The time wasn't going to do me.
That's good. And then Pastor Mike, typical day for you.
My journey was somewhat of a Joseph story. I probably served the easiest time that.
So you weren't locked down. So you weren't locked down in solitary for 23 hours.
Man, no, man, no. No, I would have bucked. I'd have had some knots across my head. I pretty much had, because let me preface by saying this, is that not everyone that goes to prison is going to prison to serve time. Some people go to prison because it's their time to serve.
Rewind that one more time. That's good. That one more time.
Not everyone that goes to prison to serve time.
Amen.
Some people, God allows their steps to be ordered there because it's their time to serve.
Now break that down. I know where you're going, but break that down for the people. What do you mean?
I asked God to go into full-time ministry. And that's the place that he chose for me to go into full-time ministry. Once you give and surrender and give your life to God, you become an envelope and God becomes the sender. He dictates where he's going to send you to. He puts the name of the people that you're supposed to reach. He put the address there. You have no say-so on it. He puts his stamp on it and he seals it, and then he releases you so that he can take his word wherever there's a soul.
That's good.
When I got there, people had been praying, man, brother, we've been praying for a preacher to come in like you. Now, I had to earn my stripes while I was there, if you will, because you have what they call, quote unquote, prison preachers all throughout the prison. And they're wolves hiding in sheep clothing because it's the motive, the intent of the heart is the main thing. Because of that conspiracy charge we was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Here's what a lot of people would do. They would go to church, and because they don't have access to the resources of people that they have on the outside, then they'll fake a conversion to Christianity or some other religious group. While the whole time is to get information. Because if they get information from you, then they can in lieu turn around and call their lawyer and say, hey, look, I need my time shortened because I'm about to give you some information that you can build a case on somebody that's already in here.
Wow. That's not necessarily considered that would be snitching into some extent,
to the uttermost. It's a government. It's called a Rule 35. It's a ruling 35. If you can give information to help authorities arrest someone else, they take significant amount of time off your sentence. That's why.
So you got preachers. So you got people who say they're preachers.
Come on, sir.
And using the relationships to gain information, to get close to people, gain their information.
Come on, sir.
And then try to use it to reduce their time.
Wow.
To reduce their time. Come on, sir. So when I say I had the easiest walk, because I didn't know what to expect, because first and foremost, I never thought that God was going to allow me to go in there. And the reason being is because I know I hadn't done anything wrong.
Right.
Number two, when it was all said and done, the charge I pled to was $435. And when I went before the judge the first time, here's what the judge said. Y'all mean to tell me y'all have this young man in here for $435 and you're saying that he should have known that the student didn't have a high school diploma? At that time, the state prosecutor jumped up and she said, but Your Honor, this is what we have to tell the jury. And all we have to do is prove to the jury that he heard a rumor. Then he can be charged with conspiracy. So yes, we put in there that he should have known that the student had a high school diploma. That was my first appearance. When I went back, you know what that paperwork said after that judge made that big deal?
What did it say?
That Mike Grubbs knew or he should have knew. Now, after she said that, I thought there was no way that she was going to send me to prison. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
$463, had paid the fine. She could have sitting home on house arrest or whatnot. But I became the first African-American in history of the country to be charged with what I charged. So here's what happened. I didn't know what to expect. So you know, but your viewers might not know. I spend a lot of time, I'm an etymologist. Etymology is a study of words and how they evolve over time. And I do a lot of study of the Greek, the Hebrew, and the Aramaic languages. So I literally, what God used me through his grace to train pastors literally all over the world. So when I got ready to go in there, after I pled to those 6 months, I didn't know what to expect. So I started studying Hinduism, Buddhism, Muslim, every religion out there, because I believe. And one of the, in order for me to be able to debate and go back and forth with these people on their convictions and belief, I had to know what they believe because they knew what I believe. So I started doing push-ups. I started growing my hair out on my face. You ain't hearing what I'm saying, Reverend? Man, I started doing 200 push-ups a day. Listen, wasn't nobody finna take me.
So, listen, Reverend. So you started doing push-ups.
Reverend, I started looking like Hulk.
You let your hair grow out?
I let my hair grow out, not only on my face, because mind you, you've known me for well over 10 years now.
Yeah.
I never had this amount of hair on my face. I would always have a clean face. I work in corporate American position. But you know, you got to look tough when you go in there. You can't be frail.
So you gonna look tough, huh?
I'm gonna look tough. So I got to share this story with you, Reverend. This is gonna be real entertaining. So long story short, the judge sentenced me. She allowed me to turn myself in Tallahassee, Florida. I chose Tallahassee, so I was sentenced in Miami. But my lawyer said, can he turn himself in Tallahassee? He just relocated his family there. And I had an uncle that worked there for 30 years, so I knew I had favor. Then another pastor friend of mine, one of his good friends is a lieutenant there. So before I ever got there, the lieutenant knew I was coming. So when I tell you it was a Joseph story, it was a Joseph story. I had pure favor from the first time I walked in there. But when I first walked in, I didn't know what to expect. So I got there, I turned myself in, the marshals took me to the detention center, and I'm sitting in the cell waiting on them to process me and all that type of stuff. And I'm about 3 or 4 hours. So I'm just in there praying, Lord, walk with me. I need you. I'm singing every song I know, and I don't know that many, but then I hear them say, here comes the bus. So the bus comes and they bring 42 people from the Atlanta prison. Now, Tallahassee Detention Center is a hub. It's like a main bus terminal. When people are going to different prisons, they bring them to Tallahassee, they stay there a week or 2 weeks, and then they disperse them to the prison that they're going to. Gotcha. So unless you're waiting for your court date, and if you're waiting for your court date, then you can be there for months. So long story short, they bring the bus in, and 42 people come in, and they put about 15 people in my cell. And I'm looking at these jokers, and I'm sizing them up. Now I'm a church boy, and some of these jokers are gangsters. And I locked eyes with this joker, and he bald-headed. He had tattoos all on his neck. He had platinum teeth, Reverend, not silver, not 14K. He had platinum teeth, platinum. With a bald head. With a bald head, Reverend. And this was the scariest joker.
Boss, he said he had platinum teeth.
Platinum teeth, not white gold, not silver, platinum, Reverend. You know he had that money, and he was about that life. As a matter of fact, the people had a nickname for him. Guess what they called him?
What?
Like that. Because he was like that, Reverend. Like that. I see this joker, and he stand up, and he take his hand, and he put his hand inside his little sweat uniform like this and back up against the wall. So I'm looking around at everybody else, and I guess they scared like me because he looked dangerous. So you know what I did, Reverend?
What'd you do?
I'm new. I got against the wall, put my back against it, got my little uniform, and put my hand in there like that.
Oh my God.
Rabbit. I'm standing back chilling. I put my foot up on the wall. Now I'm chilling. Ain't nobody looking at me and I ain't looking at them. I just got my eyes on him because he looked crazy, man.
Yeah.
So they went to giving everybody their cells, right? And I'm like, man, that just gonna kill somebody. I already know it's gonna go down. Somebody ain't gonna make it through the night. Real. They gave me my belongings, my bag and my toothbrush and all that stuff. And guess where they put me, Real?
Well,
they put me in the cell with him.
Wow.
Of all people, you got put in the cell with him. Just you and him?
Me and him, Rev. So when I got there, he was on the bottom bunk, right? So, and you know, I had him put on a little weight. I had a couple of muscles on my, you know, I was a little bigger than when I went in with him. So I get in there and I look at him and he say, man, I'm gonna give you the bottom bunk. I'm gonna take, you're a little bigger than me. I'm gonna take the top bunk. I say, okay. So he gets up there on the top bunk. And one of the things that in prison, they don't ask you what you're in there for. Now they ask you to see your paperwork to make sure that you're not a snitch. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
If you got a ruling 35 on your paperwork, you got some problems. They're gonna deal with you because snitches get stitches.
Gotcha.
So he's sitting there. And so then, you know what I did off top?
What?
I said, well, Doc, you don't mind if I pray for you, do you? He said, pray for me. I said, yeah, I'm a preacher. I let it be known real fast. I said, you don't mind if I pray for you, Reverend? He said, man, no, I don't mind, Doc. He said, you a preacher? He said, what you were doing, stealing the tithe money?
Oh, Lord.
I said, no, man. I said, I ran to college. And I said, a girl lied, said she had a high school diploma. And they gave me 9 months. He said, what? He said, you ain't shoot nobody? I said, no. He said, you ain't stabbed nobody? I said, no. He said, man, you need to let the guards know right now you on the wrong side. You need to get out of here. You on the side with the killers. You white collar. You don't even qualify to be up. They got you. Listen, you on the B side. B stand for bad. You need to be on A side. Bro, listen to me. He say your little prayer, but then knock on that door and let them know when you get up in the morning, let them know you white collar and they got you on the wrong side.
Wow.
And so then people the same say, man, you a preacher. I say, man, I'm a preacher, man. I said, I've been walking with the Lord, well over 15 years now. He said, can you do something for me? Yeah. He said, can you pray for me in my marriage?
Wow.
Wow.
Do you hear what I'm saying, Reverend?
The
So I prayed
one with
for
the
him.
tattoos on his neck
And
Come
the
on,
platinum
sir.
teeth.
and the platinum
Come on,
teeth
sir.
asked
Come
you to
on,
pray
sir.
for his marriage.
And to pray for his marriage. I prayed for him. I prayed for his children. And now he's a big boy. Now this dude, they were going by 5 Porsches, 3, 4 Lamborghinis. They had 10, 15 cars. Go up to go up to Atlanta, rent out 3, 4 mansions. And he say in a weekend, they'll blow $400,000-$500,000 in a weekend.
Oh, wow.
Dude, he was about that life, and he was the trigger man. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So long story short, we got up the next morning, and we go outside, and it's like, man, I'm gonna teach you the ropes around here. And so I had already watched Life. And on Life, when they were talking about taking cornbread, I already had it fixed in my mind when nobody gonna take my cornbread. If so, it was gonna be some consequences and repercussions around there. So I know whoever asked for my food, that's what I had to fight first. This is my mindset, Reverend. Do you hear what I said?
Yeah.
So I'm like, the first person asked me for my cereal, I'm a banana, I got to hit him. So we get outside the cell, and he had been in the system for a little while. He lets an OG know, a guy that been there for 30 years. I know I'm rambling, but I'll bring it home. So a dude that's been in prison for 30 years. And he say, man, this guy right here is a preacher. He looked at me, and he said, no disrespect. He said, I done seen jailhouse preachers for the 27 to 30 years that I've been inside of here. I was like, he said, for 27 to 30 years that I've been in here, he said, no disrespect to you, but I know the games that people play. The other guy that hung with him was a Muslim, and we called him Ak, and Ak is the Hebrew word for brother. In Islam, it's the word for brother as well, so they called him Ak. So here I am with the OG gangster, with the trigger man, and with a Muslim, and I'm sitting there, and guess what they told me?
Right.
Preacher man, you gonna be all right, we got you. So now the 3 most ruthless people in there, I'm in their circle.
Wow.
Do you hear what I'm saying, Reverend?
Wow.
I see a Jew, a Caucasian that's studying to be a Jew. He's sitting at the table trying to read the Strong's. I go over there and read a few words for him, and he said, well, how in the world do you know what this word means? I said, man, I can teach you this language inside, outside, forward, and back. He said, what, really? He said, but you black. I said, no, I'm Caucasian. He says, will you teach me how to become a Jew? And I say, brother, why would you want to become a Jew? Long story short, I spent two weeks on the A side, on the B side, because they had to wait on all my stuff to come through. By the time I left from over there, I was teaching Bible study, not only to the Muslim, not only to the Jew, not only to the trigger man, but to the dope boy as well. My name started spreading through the prison. When they put me on the other side, the chaplain found out I was here. And I have a friend in Tallahassee, Clarence Jackson, who's real good friends with the chaplain. The chaplain found out who I was, and he came to me and said, Pastor Grubbs, while you're here, you're going to do the Bible study on the men's side, and I'm going to do the Bible study on the women's side.
Wow.
I spent 20 hours a day, from as long as they let us out the cell, and I say 20 hours, because even when they would assign me cellmates, it was teaching the word of God. I would call my wife and talk to her on the phone. I'm finna let you go, Apostle Fidel. And she would say, how you doing? I'm like, I'm great. I went to school for Christian counseling. So it's like putting me in the NBA Hall of Fame or the NBA Finals, because I'm in there counseling some of the most people that's on some of the most major cases in the country, in the history of this country. People that you see on CNN, people that you see on Fox News. I'm talking about headline cases. And all these guys are coming to the prison asking, where's that preacher from Jacksonville, Florida?
Wow. Wow. Apostle.
Go ahead, I apologize.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
When God puts your name on that envelope and he dictates and determines where he's going to send it to, you have no so in the matter. He'll do whatever he needs to do in order to get his word where he needs to get it to.
That's
Amen.
right.
That's right.
Apostle, so with both of you guys going behind the prison gate, behind the wall, getting a firsthand experience, can we help the listener and the viewer to understand the prison industrial complex? What is it? Why do we not belong there? Not just because of crime. I'm not just talking from a criminal aspect, because that's relative, right? There's bills created to criminalize us. to easily get people caught up. And I'm not saying that every person, Mike, you said this a while ago, about some of the most beautiful guys as it relates to heart you've ever met were behind prison walls. You know what I mean? And they're not the animals that society wants to make them out to be. Far few and in between. Most people just have made bad decisions, and then most of them don't belong there. Period. 25% of them. What did you say? What was the numbers you gave me? About.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. You gave me the percentages you said of people in prison.
Here's what I've learned, and this is stuff that the inmates will tell you themselves. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Some of them will honestly tell you, I done everything that the government said I did. About 33% of them, you know what they're gonna say?
What?
I only did half of what the government said I did. So some of the stuff they say I did it. But the other half, I didn't do it. But then you have another third, you know what they say?
What?
Everything that the government said against me was a complete lie. And here's what's not broadcast, Reverend. What's not broadcast is when you have a charge, like I made it to the Washington Post. They called me Apostle Paul. And the article said colleges and universities are using pastors and preachers like the Apostle Paul to win the hearts of people only to get them into college. Do you hear what I'm saying? But they used it as a derogative term, as if I was using the gospel to get people to enroll in school.
Wow.
Do you hear what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Now, with that being said, the world knew that. But when they came back and dropped out on federal charges, the government then put that into the Washington Journal. That didn't hit CNN. That didn't hit ABC News. Now, here's another thing. A lot of these guys that's represented by the country's attorney, whether it be state or federal, a lot of these guys catch cases, but they don't talk about how many of these guys go in that prison library, do their own research on their own cases, and then turn around and get an appeal and go home to their families.
Wow.
You don't see that.
Wow.
And I mean, it's by the dozens where people are going in there and they're fighting their own case, spending time in that law lab, and OGs and guys that are sentenced for 20, 25 years, sitting there and helping them work with them on a case. And they're submitting their own documentation. And when they come home, you don't hear anything about that. Well, if an inmate can fight and find loopholes as to why they were sentenced, and these are black and brown people, do you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then why couldn't the attorneys do it on the front side?
Yeah.
That has went to school for 8 years to do so.
Because they don't have any vested interest. Their vested interest
sir.
in you going behind them prison doors.
Come on, sir.
Apostle, help me understand. And your situation is a little different just because of the United Kingdom, but still the same. Can you take us into the UK? What's the demographics in the UK prison?
In the UK prison, I mean, the problem in the UK is the same problem in the United States of America and anywhere where you find people of African descent. And I'll defer to Michelle Alexander's book, The New Jim Crow,
Yep. Mass
Incarceration in the Age of Color Blindness. And my argument is that Blackness has been criminalized. So policing in the Black community is different from policing in the white community. And you said it, most of us think of the 13th Amendment as the amendment that abolished slavery and servitude, but people don't know about the crime aspect of it. So basically now you can criminalize the most frivolous things in order to get a segment of the Black population back into prison, because you can't have them on the plantation anymore. And it's because slavery was not just a color thing, it was an economic system, right?
That's exactly right.
So basically when you're shifting from a system where you're going into the Industrial Revolution, you need a certain amount of people to work low income jobs, and then you need to keep a buffer between the wealthy whites and the poor whites. So you can't go to the poor whites and say, well, the slave's trying to take your job. Because unlike, the brain surgeon, Dr. Ben Carson, slaves aren't immigrants. Immigrants come here of their own volition, looking for better opportunity. Slaves were shackled and manacled to be brought here. Right. So basically, you need individuals like out in California prior to the pandemic last year when they had the wildfires. It was the inmate population that was being used to fight the fires, right? So you find individuals in prison now being forced to work for 15 cents an hour now to enrich corporate entities, millions and millions and millions of dollars made off phone cards, made off the commissary, and several politicians and other individuals in society have their stake in the prison population. Then when you put a prison in a community, a predominantly amount of individuals get hired. So there's an economic system in jail. And that's why when you're doing something as simple as driving a car as a Black person, whether it be male or female, your encounter with a police officer is probably going to be different than it is with a white person. So England, I mean, England had your your whites who were into petty crime of Blacks also, because you got to remember, England is the mother of colonialism.
That's right.
And out of her was birthed the American system. So it's sort of like mother and daughter. So it's a lot of the same thing. A system, and you mentioned something to the guest last week that's very, very interesting. You asked the question of why do our young men keep going back in? They're not going back in prison because they want to be inmates. But there's a system in place that makes the recidivism rate very high. For instance, serving your time is the punishment for your crime. So once you serve
supposed to be.
You're right. Once you serve your time, you should be able to come out and vote. You should be able to come out and be integrated back into society.
That's right.
But if they put on the application and they do a background check now, and it's very, very difficult for you to find a job, that probably will be difficult anyway. The chances are now individuals begin to revert back to what they knew before.
Right.
So there's certain systems and structures in place to repopulate the prison population. I'm going to say this quickly before I hand it back over to you. So here's the trickery. The Attorney General Barr was saying that, say for instance, more whites were killed by the police than say Blacks, right?
Right.
But when you look at the population of Black people in the United States of America and look at the white population, then when you look at the demographic in terms of Blacks being in prison, Blacks are incarcerated at a higher rate based on their population numbers than our whites. So of course, in the prison system now, you have a higher number of Blacks who are incarcerated based on their population demographics. And it's not because they commit more crime than anybody else. It's because it's the school to prison pipeline that if you're a young Black male, your encounter with a mostly white police officer is probably going to lead to your incarceration, even for a minor infraction, whereas the white male is not going to experience that. And I want to say this quickly. There's a segment of the population in this country, including the president, that if you mention anything about the police, all of a sudden you're anti-police. We're not anti-police. We're anti-racism.
Yeah.
We're anti-brutality. We're anti-murder, whether the person that's doing it is in a construction uniform, a doctor's uniform, or a police uniform.
That's right. That's right.
That was good.
That's right, Apostle. Well said. And I want you both. I'm gonna just throw this out there to either one of you guys. I want you both, any one of you guys, to kind of chime in on. You mentioned the phone cards. You mentioned
commissary.
Mike, you've mentioned commissary being food, right? You mentioned the different food. You mentioned the landscaping, Mike, Pastor Mike. You've also mentioned the laundry.
Making license plates.
What else?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You go ahead. You go ahead.
No, you good. You good.
Those are industries like here's case in point. You have vendors inside of the prison system, right? Here's a real big one, Keefe. And for years, people have said like Keefe products was owned by the Bushes. I don't know that to be true, but this is inmate jargon, inmates language. So what happens is they have a slew of products. If you buy hot sauce, it's not going to come from Louisiana. It's going to be Keefe. If you buy honey bun, it's not going to be Louisiana. It's going to be Keefe. So in the federal prison system, you can only spend $300 a month You can have $30 million on your books, but you can't go over $300 a month. So for certain jobs in there, like landscape, now this is why prison is so profitable. I was at Pensacola work camp, the federal prison work camp, and it's called the Hollywood of the prison system. They used to have a movie theater there. And for any man that's ever been
inside the prison,
a movie theater, when I tell you lush, it was the lush of the lush, because it was equivalent to going to an all males college. You remember I told you about the OG, the guy sold 27 to 30 years in prison? Mm-hmm. Here's what he told me at the end of those 2 weeks. He said, brother, last time I came to prison, I lost 30 kilos. And it said, knock me off my rocker. There was no way I was able to recover from $500,000. He said, what I did, the reason I had a chance to meet you now is because I committed a federal crime on purpose. So I could come to the feds in order to find me a plug that would front me 30 more kilos so I can get back on my feet.
Wow.
Do you hear what I'm saying? Now, I don't know the equivalency of 30 kilos, but I know it's somewhere probably over $500,000. And he said the whole reason he came back to prison, because here's what you have to understand. The environments and the cultures that people come from out of their communities, when they go inside of a prison system, it's magnified. The guy that you look on the news and you seen got caught with 30 tons of heroin, or the guy that you seen on the news that sold $45 million because of shady stock dealing. When you get into the Fed prison, you're surrounded by a whole bunch of them. So the people that you looked up to, or the people that you glorified, now you're elbows to elbows with those people.
Right.
And then whatever it was that you listened to on the outside, you have the access to listen to it on the inside. So if you listen to hip hop, guess what? The prison system make money off you download music. They'll let you download all the hip hop that you want to listen to. That's dealing with the mindset. If you like TV shows, got free cable. Now, I don't know about everybody, but in the Fed. So you have 3 TV rooms. You have a TV room for the Caucasians, you have a TV room for the African Americans, and then you have a TV room for the Spanish people. If you go inside the Caucasian room, you're gonna see home improvement shows, you're gonna see trading shows, you're gonna see the news on TV, you're gonna see just stuff on how to revamp your mind and how to invest money and things that's gonna teach you trade in the Caucasian room. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You go in the African American room to watch TV because you have to buy stereo headsets in order to hear the TV. So they might have 5 TVs on the wall, but you have to tune into the TV that you want to listen to.
Right.
You go to the African American TV room, you know what you're gonna see?
What?
Love and hip hop, rap videos, basketball, football, baseball, and a whole bunch of shoot 'em up, kill 'em, bang bang movies.
But who
So
chooses what's on the TV? Are they asking?
Now you're on the inside having same access to what caused your mindset to become what it was to get you in there in the first place. Does that make sense?
It does.
I was asking who chooses what's on the TV? Is the population asking for that to be on?
No, they're remote controls, and it's typically the people that's been there because the inmates run the prison. The correction, especially once you get on the federal level, they would send 132 people to go work. You know how many correction officers went out there with 132 people?
How many?
One correction officer have to watch 32 people, and I was in Eglin. So Eglin is the largest Air Force base in the United States of America. It covers four counties. It's 700 square miles. So you got 132 inmates that's working 30 to 40 miles away from each other, 20 miles away from each other, and you only got one correction officer out there. Why? Because you have contractors out there. So you talked about landscape.
Yeah.
A person that's doing landscape may make $1 a day. Are you with me? But that contract that the prison have with the Air Force and with the Navy, they may be getting paid $15 a head. They give you $1, they pocket $14, and if you're working $7, $8, they're making $100 a day, and they're giving you $1. Mm-hmm. It's money. Do you see where I'm coming from?
So let's do some math real quick on what you just said. My mind just went to running. So, and there's no set number, but how many inmates total you think in prisons? Like not like in a particular prison. Let's just say how many inmates you think would be on a prison yard.
In Pensacola, there was 700 and some odd prisons that was there. Are you with?
What
700
about
some
you,
prisoners.
Apostle?
Yeah, about roughly.
About 800.
Yeah. Mhm.
So
Now
so
it depends on where you are. I apologize.
no, you're good. You're
My-
good. So, go ahead. So go ahead. Go ahead. I'll get this thought out, but go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. You go ahead.
So with 800 prisoners and a contract, let's just say, contract for a medium paying each prisoner, $15 an hour using the math that you just said, which, they're paying the prisoner $1 or less. I think Apostle said 15 cents. I mean, just do the math on that per day.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And then not including the amount of money that they get per day for each inmate that's in prison.
Right.
So there's an amount that's allocated towards a prison, private or state, for each inmate that's in there. How else do you justify paying $36,000 to someone with no criminal background, $36,000 to house me off a $400 crime unless you're gonna profit from it?
Now, you're right about it. That's good.
Do you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
It's the money. In order to use the phone, you have to buy minutes. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you only get X amount of minutes for the whole month. Once they go, they go. If I'm not mistaken, it might be 300 minutes. It may be a little less, but that's all you get for the month. But guess what? You paying for those minutes. Do you hear what I'm saying? Everything. If you need shoes, they will sell you Nikes. You know why? Because there's a contract. They will send you, sell you, there's certain shoe brands that they sell on the inside of prison. Mind you, they only let you spend $300. So you can buy 2 pairs of shoes that cost $50. They tell you they mark them up. They're going to charge you $75 more. That's $25 profit off each pair of shoes. They know you're going to be cold, so you got to buy sweatsuits. Now, if you spend your money on a pair of shoes and a couple of sweatsuits, you're going to need a hat. You want to buy a hat. Guess what? Now you ain't got no food for the money.
Wow.
Everything. There's contracts associated with everything that's out there. And when I tell you God gave me favor, this is how you know God gave me favor, Reverend. Every year in Pensacola, they have a banquet for all the volunteers. Every church that sows money or every church that comes to volunteer, the Red Cross, every nonprofit, every organization that do anything for the prison, they have an annual banquet for them. In 2016, you know who the keynote speaker was?
Who?
I was the keynote speaker on behalf of the warden, the assistant warden, and the chaplain.
Amen.
Wow.
The chaplain called me, and the reason being, while I was there, I was pastoring over 150 men that had either gave their life to God or rededicated their life to God. And guess what? Even that owner that the feds wanted me to testify against, they gave him 8 years, and he owed $20 million to the government. Do you hear what I'm saying? The last service I preached there, that man walked up to me with tears in his eyes and gave his life for God. Wow. Here's what my wife said. My wife said, Mike, I don't know why God is allowing you to go through this. She says, but if one person gets saved, then it's all worth it. Hear me, over 150 men gave their life, rededicated their life to God. And even when the churches couldn't come in from the outside, I was one of the preachers that was stand in for the outside churches. God gave me so much favor around there. Yeah. And it's for a time such as this. I'll say this and I'll be through. When I came home and started doing radio shows, my story started spreading all over the country, and pastors all over the world started reaching out to me. And overnight, God took a ministry that I taught from my living room and spread it all over the world, based upon the fact that he allowed me to become the messenger because he was the sender of me as an envelope. Amen.
Apostle.
Yeah, I wanted to say something quickly. There's a term that was used during the Jim Crow era and before, and you'll hear certain politicians using this particular term, and it's coded language to send to white supremacists to let them know that we're going to keep our feet on the necks of people we perceive to be nothing more than slave. And the term is the term law and order. That's why you keep hearing the president using this term law and order. Ronald Reagan used it. And when Mike Dukakis was running for the president of the United States of America, when he became governor of Massachusetts, they had a system in place where they would furlough certain individuals, even if they committed a certain crime. So this individual by the name of Willie Horton got let out, and he wound up killing somebody. So basically, what Bush won, the person that ran his campaign, and on his deathbed, he went and apologized to the caucus, because what they did is they put this profile out there saying, well, look at the governor.
They had his picture. They had his picture in there. Willie Horton's picture.
Yeah. And it happens on both sides, because we heard the term super predator.
Super predator, that's right.
Right. To paint a picture now of black males who are super predators, rapists, and murderers. So basically, coming out of Jim Crow, they needed coded language to be able to speak to it. That's why, for me, when it comes to politics, racism is a non-starter. I don't care how many millions I stand to make. I don't support anybody
That's right.
who deals with white supremacy and white nationalism and is brazen with it, because there's just too much at stake.
Yeah.
So basically now they send this coded language, and you'll hear it over and over. I'm the candidate of law and order. Basically, they're speaking to a certain people, because listen, red and blue states in America, it has to deal with states who own slaves. Really, that's what it comes down to, and states who didn't.
That's
right? States' rights is a term, the right to do what? The right to own slaves and the right to bear arms to keep the slave in check. So you'll see the coded language in politics. I'm law and order. So they'll stoke the flames to cause protests. And in the midst of the protest now, they'll put individuals in there who are white supremacists to do violent acts, right? So then now you can say, oh, look, the cities are burning, people are looting. Now you have so you frighten individual. That's why you keep hearing this nonsense about, oh, the suburbs, right? The suburbs. In other words, we're the ones that's going to protect you. We're the ones that's going to, I'm the law and order candidate. It has its roots in Southern segregation, in Jim Crow politics, but you can't come out and say that now because you just seem to be blatant. So you use coded language now, like law and order. It has nothing to do with any law and order. It has everything to do with subjugating a certain demographic and criminalizing individuals with black skin, period.
Real talk. I tell you what, that is
it's heavy.
And it's not just heavy, it is on point. It is in your face. And the key thing, I think, is that, you know, you got to be blind to not see it. I mean, they're so blatant with it. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, they're not coming out in the forefront and using the terms because they paint them in a bad light. But, you know, at the same time, it is so obvious. That's why I talked about, you know, you all of them come out and talk about how they are going to change the injustice and the racist divide in the country and so on. It is just designed to get you to vote for them, and once they get in office, then their true platforms rise to the forefront. My challenge to all of us as a people is to wake up, man. We gotta. My people perish because of lack of knowledge. Like, we have to open up our ears and our eyes, become educated, in order to even know what we're dealing with. You know what I mean? Because most of the time we're ignorant to stuff. We're ignorant to truly, you know, what the motives of these people are, as it pertains to black and brown people. And I just say this, and as we get ready to close, we're an hour and a half in. What would you guys say? And I'll let you guys close it. What would you guys say to the young man? You know, we had a young man that's on tonight say, man, I'm soaking all this up. Mind blown. This is a young man. Brother, what would you say to the young people who are tuned in and have been watching us tonight as it relates to, you know, the decisions and the choices that we make? And Apostle, you said this earlier about the last show. My statement wasn't why do they keep coming back as it relates to crime, but I'm talking about the ones who, you know, Mike, you mentioned the guy who said, I'm coming back to get a plug. You know, the ones who don't have a problem with doing the time. You know what I mean? I'm going to hit a lick and I don't mind going back. I don't think they understand the bigger scope, you know what I mean? The bigger picture as it relates to the the prison yard being the plantation. So what would you guys say to young man that's tuned in and listening, young lady that's tuned in and listening, in closing?
One of the things that I would say, and this is not just for the young men, but it's for their parents as well.
Yeah.
One of the reasons we can't, quote unquote, say win the game or be participants in this game is because we don't know the rules.
That's
and
good.
The rules are forever changing. So I stand a chance as long as I know what the rules are. But there's laws that's being created every day, and just like
Thank you. Breaking up.
For instance, there's a charge called ghost dope. And you've probably never even heard this before, but let me tell you what ghost dope is. You remember how I told you where you could have someone just willing to testify on you just to get a cheaper charge?
Yeah.
Ghost dope is this. Say, for instance, somebody get busted with drugs, right? And the feds come to them and say, where did you get the drugs from? And then they say, well, I'm not going to tell you. And then you know how they play the good cop, bad cop. Then they put the pressure on you and they come back and say, we don't really want you, we want the supplier. So if you help us get the supplier, then we will cut you slack on your sentence. So instead of you doing 3 years, we'll give you 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to testify in court. They give that person a Rule 35. Are you with me?
Right.
And here's one of the questions they ask. How many drugs did you buy from the dealer? And they'll say, okay, I bought an ounce of drugs. Well, how often do you buy an ounce from him? Every weekend. How many weeks are there in a year?
52.
Okay. Well, how long you been doing this? For 3 years. So 3 times 52 is 156, right? So when they show up, they gonna charge the drug dealer with 162 ounces of drugs, even if there's no drugs in the house, based upon the fact that the person that got caught said that he did. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
No drug. That's why it's called ghost dope. It's called ghost drugs. In other words, you can have someone say that you gave them 2 kilos of dope. Drugs. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
And now that's the evidence that's used against you in court. So now you got to spend every dime that you have to try to fight against a country that's loaded, that know the rules because they make them. How do you defend yourself? The rules are always changing. Here's something that's prolific and prime. In the 18th and 19th chapter of Genesis, God says, shall we hide from Moses the things that we're going to do, seeing that he would teach his children my laws, my commandments, and my statutes. One of the reasons that God chose, one of the reasons that he chose Abraham is because he knew that Abraham would teach his children the law. What we have to do as a people is we have to teach our generation upon generation the law, because they're consistently changing. One of the reasons the government went after the Black Panthers the way that they did is because they understood the law. So to the young people out there, you have to position and posture yourself. This is the 21st century. Ignorance to the law is no excuse. You have to, if you can spend time on the internet, looking up YouTube videos, looking up the next sneakers, you need to be looking up some of these laws and some of these court cases of what's going on, because that's the only way you're going to preserve yourself. I'm going to say this and I'm finished. I have 7 boys and 1 girl. And statistics say 1 in every 6 men, Black men, can expect to go to prison. So when it came my time to go, I say, Lord, if this is the pill I have to swallow, let me be the one to digest it, but do not let it affect my children. So that's a show in and of itself. How do spouses live when the man in the household has been snatched out of their life?
Yeah.
So I'm in on that.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I wanted to say quickly that necessity is the mother of all invention, and prior to integration, Blacks had their own businesses. And when you look at the model, I mean, you'll hear Senator Cotton, that racist senator, and other individuals concerning DC statehood. They'll say, well, you know, what they're really saying is these people can't really trust it to run a state. They mentioned Marion Barry, who had this problem with crack in DC, but they don't mention Black Wall Street and
Right.
the burgeoning economic system that Black people had that was burned down by Klansmen, where Blacks were murdered and bombs were dropped on them. Let me just say this quickly. Of course, we're not into segregation, but during segregation, blacks had their own business. So the young people, I'm saying, we can't integrate into a system that don't want us. Now, America is the greatest country on the face of the planet, right? Economically, militarily. So you can't make America great again, because if you're saying that, what time in history are you talking about? Slavery,
That's
Jim
good.
Crow? You can make something greater, but you can't make something great. People are not leaving other countries to go to China and Russia. They're leaving to come to the United States because of one reason: economic opportunity. So you'll have individuals, and there are two reasons quickly why America became great. Two reasons. Number one, they helped themselves through a lot of free land by decimating the indigenous population.
Right.
Number two, they got land from Mexico under something called the Manifest Destiny, where they captured Texas and other areas with an idea that we want to spread white supremacy as far as we can. So when you have the land under agricultural system now, you need indentured servants to work the land.
Right.
So you capture slaves from Africa now, and you force them to work the land. So individuals, all ethnic groups that came to America had problem with crime, right? The Kennedys, who are multimillionaires, John F. Kennedy became president, their father was a shrewd businessman, but he was a bootlegger, and he got in with the mafia to help get his son elected, right? But after a while, they were able to assimilate into the regular culture. The same thing with Italians, Polish, and Irish. What differentiates us is the color of our skin. And that color of our skin, and I don't make excuses, but it's used to keep a certain segment of our population as an underclass. And I love my brother Mike, but the law doesn't work equally for all of us.
That's right.
Because if you're black and you're driving and you go through a yield sign, or you have a broken tail light, it could make the difference between life or death.
Yep.
Whereas black mothers and black fathers have to teach their son how to behave when they get in police. In other words, to subjugate themselves, right? That's the thing that other people don't have to put up with. So my thing to young people is educate yourself and entrepreneurship, right? Mm-hmm. Building back up the business base of our community, because as long as we are, listen, when your culture is stripped from you, and I go over this in the book, all of us here bear names that are not indigenous to the continent we come from. Mm-hmm. We speak languages that are not indigenous to the continent we come from.
That's right.
We have a form of clothing that's not indigenous to the culture that we come from. Every other people can identify language, all that was stripped from us, right? And then now when you look over the years in America where you're told the child looks and everything associated with black is negative, right? And everything that associated with white is pure. So you grow up with that kind of latent subconscious feeling, a lot of people, that there's something wrong with them. The thing we have to do is we have to get back to what a mind is a terrible thing to waste, educating ourselves, and entrepreneurship, where we become employers and not just employees. And I'll say this quickly.
That's good.
The people like the president like to point out Chicago, right? But when you have a system where companies leave a community like a Detroit, like a Chicago, and you have dilapidated housing and you have a lack of opportunity, poverty always breeds crime.
Right.
So of course, when you have these particular communities where people can't get access to proper jobs and education, it's going to perpetuate a cycle now, because if you're taught that black is inferior, of course, when you get involved in gang activity now, it's no problem for you to open up an AR-15, because society are already giving you a subconscious message that these people are inferior and you're inferior. So young people, you got to learn the stock market, learn business, learn entrepreneurship, and take care of your own community. And don't depend on other folks to educate your children and indoctrinate them, because they're going to indoctrinate them in a system that benefits other people and not yourself. Don't just look for a job, create a job.
Man, that sounds like the sentiments that I teach my kids. Don't look for a paycheck, provide a paycheck.
There it is.
That's something we believe in. Well, listen, gentlemen, I really appreciate you guys.
Thank
for
you.
taking the time out tonight, man, to rock with us on the LiT TV show. Real quick, Pastor Mike, how can they find you? How can they get in touch with you if they want to connect?
Awesome. I'm on social media. You can find me under Mike Grubbs or Christian Leaders of Today. As the young folks say, Google me.
Google.
God bless you.
Thank you, sir. And Apostle Fidel, same thing. How can they get in contact with you?
Yeah, I'm Googleable also. I have to create a word. Pastor Mike Grubbs, you heard it from the bald eagle first here. Googleable. Yeah, but I'm listed under my name. Listed under my name on Facebook, Fidel Donald, so I could be reached there.
All right. Again, thank you guys. Don't
Thank
forget
you.
to get with Apostle Fidel for the book. Don't forget to get with him for the book, y'all. Thank y'all for rocking out with us. Quintez, terrific show. Thank you, sir. Mama, great word tonight. Thank you. All of you guys. Shantoria, I'm going to go down the list. There's so many of you guys, but thank you guys for rocking with us the entire night. This has been a blessing. I hope the young men, young women, and all of us that heard these individuals, these men of God speak tonight, hopefully something was said that provoked thought, more importantly, provoked change. That was my words. You want to give them words of wisdom? No words of
It's
wisdom?
been a lot of words tonight.
Yeah, it's good stuff. All right. God bless y'all. Thank y'all. Y'all hang tight. Y'all hang tight. The rest of y'all, peace. God bless you.
Thanks for tuning in to the LiT TV show with E.C. Weston. Don't miss next week's webisode. Same time, same bat channel. Hey, we're viewer supported, so don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Edward Weston, our Instagram, E-C Weston, and our Facebook, E-C Weston. Also, let us know what you'd like us to talk about on upcoming shows. Wait. Stop the music. I almost forgot the most important thing. We need LiT team members. If you'd like to help keep this show going, join the LiT team by donating $20 or more via Cash App at $LiT TV show. And we'll recognize you live on next week's show. Okay, bring the music back. Next Thursday, 7 p.m. Be sure to tune in because you won't want to miss it. And until then, stay lit, my friends.